Farm Basics is brought to you by the Liberty Link trait and Liberty herbicide from Bayer. The most reliable weed management solution, Liberty Link and Liberty herbicide are the link to efficient row crop production and sustainable weed management.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about a really fun thing. It's bugs around the house.
Well, you look around here, Brandon, there are a few little bugs in this wheat. And when you think about it, out in a field, well, it's easy to deal with. We'll just get the sprayer out and we'll wipe those bugs out. No problem at all. But around the house, you got kids running around, you got dogs, you got Brian laying around in the grass, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, so you got to be a little bit more careful around the house than you may have to out in the middle of a field.
Well, maybe, but here's the whole thing. Compared to years ago, we have a lot safer insecticides today. So for example, the product that we use around our house is Tempo, and what that's made from, it's a pyrethroid chemistry, and the pyrethroids are originally from the poison found in the chrysanthemum flower. So in other words, it's like sprinkling flowers all around your house. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go take a bath in it or anything like that, but the whole point is it's a lot safer than the more dangerous alternatives we had years ago.
We're actually using that same active ingredient out in our fields too, Brian, so it's not like we're spraying something dangerous out in the field. We're using the same types of products. Now around the house, when we think about bugs, there's a few that really stand out.
But wait a second. Before you get before we go any further, I think we need to talk just a little more about that safety side of things, because even with Tempo, even though it is a pretty safe product, we still want you to look at the label, look at the MSDS sheet, make sure you're using personal protective equipment where necessary. But the big thing I always tell people is it's just like flowers. So for example, there's a person I know who is allergic to certain flowers. Okay, well the same thing can happen with Tempo. If you're allergic to certain flowers, you might be allergic to Tempo. It's not going to kill you or anything, but you might break out in a rash and things like that. So we just want to be a little bit cautious.
All right. Well,
okay.
It's pretty safe on humans, but the big thing is it's pretty dangerous to bugs. And when you think about around the house, you're looking at spiders crawling around the house. You don't want to have them in the house. You've got crickets outside making all kinds of noise this time of year. You've got ants that are trying to get in. You've got all kinds of different
ticks
insects.
and mosquitoes?
Well, you've got lots of them that are going to crawl in. You've also got some like mosquitoes that are going to fly around, and you can certainly wipe out bugs that are going to crawl through this Tempo. Now, bugs that are in the air and fly around, you're probably not going to do much good unless you directly spray it on them. So it's just important to understand what you're doing with this Tempo. You're setting up a barrier around the outside of your home. So for example, when I spray my lawn for weeds, I'll mix some Tempo right in with my lawn spray. So basically my whole lawn will be protected from insects that crawl. So when I've got bugs like gnats, like mosquitoes that land down in my grass, I've got a good chance I'm either going to kill or repel them. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. As long as they leave my family alone, I'm a happy guy.
So what I'll do is just mix up a little bit in a squirt bottle with water, and then I'll spray around my house and actually in my house. With Tempo, for example, it is labeled to use in your home, in schools, in hospitals, around livestock. It is, again, pretty safe, but it does get a wide variety of insects. And like Darren said, yeah, it's not going to kill the bugs out of the air just by random. But if those bugs will land on grass that you treated, or for that matter, even some people will mix this stuff right in the paint they put on their house, and then if the bugs land on the house and they do that continually and they start absorbing more of that, then the bugs can die from that.
Well, as long as they're not biting me or bothering me, I'm happy. Now, we talked a lot about Tempo. There are other insecticides you can use around your house. For example, in the lawn, you could use imidacloprid. And that's a good way. If you put imidacloprid out, you can buy it in the granular form, spread it with your fertilizer spreader across your lawn, and then water it in. And once it gets down into that root system, it protects you against insects like grubs that are going to feed on your lawn and create big dead areas out in your grass. So by controlling those grubs, you also control everything that feeds on grubs. So if you've got little moles coming in or something else, little rodents coming into your yard to try and feed on those grubs, well, if you kill the grubs off, their food source, then you're going to get rid of those rodents at the same time too.
That imidacloprid, by the way, that would be a generic version of Poncho, Gaucho, Cruiser, that same chemical family anyway. Same kind of stuff that a farmer would use right on his seed corn or soybean seed or wheat seed.
Well, it's important if you're going to live in the country or if you're going to live in town. There are bugs all over the place. And if there are bugs that aren't bothering you, like a butterfly, for example, that's great. But if you've got bugs that are bothering you, like ants or spiders or mosquitoes, you can do a nice job controlling them by using some insecticides safely around your house.
Well, unfortunately, that insecticide won't do anything for our Weed of the Week. We'll tell you what will coming up later in the show.